It's time for Inside the Capitol, your weekly legislative update from the League of Oregon Cities. And now for a look at what's happening this week in Salem, here is LOC Lobbyist Scott Winkels.
Well, I'm going to start off with the good news, and that won't take too long. The first off is we did see the Gigabit tax exemption repealed unanimously in the House, so that's good news.
Okay.
It heads over to the Senate right now. We're hearing positive things in that chamber that the bill will go through. This essentially corrects the situation from the Comcast settlement. It's a tax incentive that never really panned out. Service wasn't really provided and needs to get fixed. So this was a good win. On a more concerning note, House Bill 3427. This was the Student Success Finance Bill. This creates the corporate activity taxes to fund the $1.9 to $2 billion in student and school investment. Bill contains an entire section on local tax preemption. I think League. We want to see schools, funded. We want better schools. We want better outcomes for kids. However, exempting local governments, we don't feel is the appropriate way to do that. Between this and the PERS plan that was outlined a couple of weeks ago by the governor that only focused on schools and not on local governments, it looks like they're deciding who's going to get on the lifeboat when it comes to public finance, and that's just not acceptable. We need a system that we need to fix our finance system.
Yeah.
And so speaking of PERS, we know cities are working on their budgets for the next fiscal year. I'd refer you to a bulletin article we had in last week's bulletin asking cities to sort of relay the trials and tribulations of the limited revenue and expanding costs and what it means to services. I think those have to be relayed to your legislators, to the governor's office, local media. People need to understand what's happening to their parks, to their libraries, to their police protection, to their fire protection, in order to get some changes going through the building. Also, House Bill 2408 is up tomorrow in the Workforce Committee. This is the bill that require the use of prevailing wage in enterprise zones. Mm-hmm. We're very concerned about this bill. We believe it would simply gut the incentive for this program. We know the program works. E-zones have been responsible for a tremendous amount of economic development in the state. It's not a system that's broken, and we're asking city leaders to contact their legislators, their senators, and voice their opposition tomorrow. It'll be in the Workforce Committee. You can tune in on OLIS and watch the hearing. In the public records arena, House Bill 2353, unfortunately, this came out of the House on a really strong vote. This is the bill that would allow district attorneys to fine local governments for being non-responsive to public records requests. The district attorneys don't want to do this. We feel it creates a profit motive for the problematic requester, shall we say. And I think one of the things we're concerned about is it doesn't impact legislators in the same way it impacts local governments. So we have an amendment to address that issue to make it a little more fair. Hopefully we can make the bill go away. But that's another bill we'll be asking city leaders to contact their legislators on. So far, it's not scheduled, but it is of significant concern. Yeah, those are our quick hits for the week. I mean, I want everyone to remember that we're getting towards the end. We've got 64 days left of the session. Committees will be closing down in May. Things are going to happen fast, and if the ledge team sends out an email, asks for an alert, we're going to ask people to turn it around quickly. We're working in time frames here.
Gotcha. Okay, Scott, thanks very much for popping in, and of course. We'll talk to you later.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for listening to this week's Inside the Capitol. Episodes of this microcast are recorded every Monday and released the same day. So be sure to check out the show notes for links to the bills that Scott mentioned, as well as a link to the LOC Bulletin for up-to-the-minute information. As always, if you have suggestions for topics for this podcast or for City Focus, please send me an email at cityfocus@orcities.org. You can also follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and be sure to subscribe so that you're notified when we publish new content.